Okay, nobody's here. All right. Hello. I see somebody just joined the live stream. Hi, just to introduce myself, my name's Sophia. I am a junior in journalism at the University of Illinois, and I'm also a DJ over at WPGU 107.1 FM, which is our local radio station. It's completely student run, and it is also a commercial radio station, which is super, super cool to kind of get that experience, especially as a student. We specialize in alternative music, but we also feature a lot of student shows that do a lot of different things. Like we have a funk show, we have a, what else am I thinking of? We have a sports show that just talks about the Daily Illini and Illini sports. We also have punk shows. We have basically just any kind of music you would want to hear. I have been a DJ over here for a little bit over a year now, and it's been really, really fun and exciting. Honestly, last year I kind of just joined on like a whim because I was looking for more things to get involved in, and then I was like, you know what, this is completely different from the things that I've done before. As a journalism major, a lot of my like broadcasting experience has been just in like straight news or TV or things like that. So I was like, you know what, I love music. I love alternative music especially. Why don't I just try radio and see how that goes? And it's been really great. Honestly, like even just DJing a show has been completely out of my comfort zone. Like when I first got hired here, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so boring. How am I ever going to be able to host a show? Like I have nothing to talk about, but actually it is just so, so fun to kind of get out there and have this outlet to express yourself and to just kind of talk about like whatever you want and listen to your favorite songs while also getting to experiment and listen to some new artists as well. So it's really, really fun. And I'm super excited to be streaming today to kind of add a sort of visual aspect to it, because that's one thing that I don't know, is a little bit more challenging about doing radio is that you don't get to like visually see your audience. So sometimes I kind of am the kind of person who likes to talk with my hands or like gesture or use visuals a lot. So I try to like, I'll catch myself sometimes when I'm talking on the air and I like start gesturing and then I'm like, oh wait, no, can't do that because nobody can actually see you. But this is exciting because now people can actually see me, and it's really cool to get to interact that way. Right now, we are having our newscast on the station right now. And if you look behind me, you can see a bunch of posters and things too that we use to kind of advertise the station and talk about different artists that we have. Right now, behind me, you can especially see Weezer and Alt J, Arcade Fire, AJR, Young the Giant, artists like that, which are really cool. I really love alternative music. I know I really like Alt J and Weezer and Young the Giant, which are of course back there. I love Cough Syrup by Young the Giant and different songs like that. Like I said a little bit earlier, it's really cool working in radio because you also get to see a lot of different artists. The show that I do today on Wednesdays, all of the songs are already picked for me when I come in. So I kind of just go in and the playlist is on the system. I will show you what that kind of looks like in a second because it is really interesting to look at. But it's cool because we also like to feature a lot of different independent artists and small-time artists to get to give them a chance to shine, you know, which is really cool to get to spotlight more independent artists rather than always listening to, you know, the big guys all the time, which is awesome. Already kind of just glancing at the playlist I got going on for today, we have some Neutral Milk Hotel, The Killers, what else? The Lemonheads, Florence and the Machine. So very, very excited about that. It's going to be a great show going on today. If you have any requests, feel free to drop them in the chat and I can try to see if I can put them in our system. So very excited. I know one thing that a lot of people like to ask about being in radio is kind of how you know when the song's over or when you're supposed to start talking, or even like how if you listen to the radio and you see a DJ start to talk over a song where the song plays the instrumental part, but then they always end just right before the lyrics start kicking in. So a lot of people like to ask how that works, and it's actually really interesting. I will try rotating my camera a little bit so you can see what our monitor looks like. All right, rotating it a little bit more this way. there we go. That's how it works. So it looks totally busy and confusing and things like that. And oh my gosh, it is so overwhelming to learn at first, but I promise it's totally easy and fun once you realize how it works. Over here on the left in this column with all the colored blocks, we have all of our schedules coming up. So we have right now it says that what's on air is the song Happy Endings by Mike Shinoda. And then this little countdown right here is actually the countdown for that instrumental intro that I was talking about. Over here, all the way on the right, you can also see that there's like a 7-second intro. So that's actually how we know that the intro is ending and when we should start talking. And then this is also how we set it too, so that we can start talking and the music can stop playing. And then on the right, this portion over here is also just the schedule coming up, but this is where you can add and delete songs and go through the library and all that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it back. All right, looks like we still have a couple more songs going before I'm gonna start talking on the air. Right now we have Happy Endings by Mike Shinoda coming up in a little bit. We've got Holland's 1945 by Neutral Milk, Hotel and Lucky Man by The Verve. Usually when I'm talking on air, I kind of just like to come up with a whole bunch of different things. It can be anything. Sometimes I just talk about things that are going on. The weather is usually a good kind of starting off point if you're really unsure about what you're going to start talking about. But I'm a movie person. The other show that I host here on Sundays is all about movie and TV soundtracks. So I definitely always like to talk about things that I'm watching lately. This past weekend, that was Mank on Netflix, which is nominated for a whole bunch of Oscars, directed by David Fincher, and it's the movie about Herman Mankiewicz, the screenwriter of Citizen Kane. I've always loved watching award season movies. I really, really love award season since an early age. Like I would always, since I was 12 was about when I would start like really, really paying attention to Oscars and Golden Globes and things like that. And I always managed to predict pretty much everything. Of course, there's always like some kind of upset or some kind of curveball that they managed to throw your way, but I'm always like researching. I always have my predictions ready. I can usually get in really, really accurate, so that's fun. Mank was the first big award season movie I've been able to watch so far. So it was interesting. And I did like it, actually. I do like older movies, so I've seen Citizen Kane quite a few times. And what I liked about the movie was that a lot of the cinematography and lines in the scripts like to reference back to that. So I thought that was really cool to kind of see those homages back to older cinema. And it was a good movie. I liked it. On the TV side, I know this past weekend on my show that I do on Sundays, I talked about superhero movies and soundtracks. So another thing that I've been watching lately is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, which just started about a week ago, and I'm really liking it so far, honestly. It's really, really good. I also watched WandaVision, the other Marvel TV show that they were experimenting with, and I really liked that because it was so different, if you've seen it, from anything that you've kind of seen in a superhero format, where it really tries to like break genres and do a whole bunch of crazy, wild things by parodying sitcom formats and adapting sitcom tropes to a superhero style, which is super interesting. So yeah, I really liked that. And Falcon and Winter Soldier is completely different from that, and that feels a lot more like a stereotypical Marvel movie. But it's really interesting kind of seeing the different sides of that and how, the creative boundaries, I guess, that storytelling can take you. That's what I really love about watching movies and TV and things like that. I won't have a show this Sunday because I will be at home celebrating Easter, but next Sunday I will be back in the studio with my show Soundtracked, and I will be talking all about movie musicals, which I'm very excited about as a former theater kid myself. So La La Land is my all-time favorite one of those because it was just the cinematic experience just of watching it in the theater was just incredible. And that was one of the ones that I really credit with getting me into award season kind of movies and really helping me to kind of get to where I am right now, where I want to go into the film and television industry. So very, very excited to kind of share those songs and my expertise on that. So very cool. Let's see. Right now we have Neutral Milk Hotel with Holland's 1945 is what's playing on air right now. Actually, Neutral Milk Hotel was a band that I discovered from WPGU, which is really cool. It was in the Aeroplane Over the Sea that played just a couple weeks ago, actually, when I first discovered them. But I love that song, and I really like the band. So again, that's what's really cool about working a shift like this, is that you never, ever know what you're going to get. And then you can really, truly discover your next favorite artist, which is really awesome. Coming up after that, I have a song by The Verve, which I actually got from my sister's Spotify. Sometimes I just like to go in and add just a couple songs throughout the show just to, you know, kind of have a little bit of variety playing in there and things like that. And yeah, my sister's super into music, so she's always building these Spotify playlists. And actually the one that I got this one from was a playlist that she has for the event that she goes into a coma. She read somewhere that if you go into a coma, they play whatever songs they think that you like. And if they don't know, then they just play top 40s. So because she could never, ever just listen to top 40s, she has a whole playlist of the songs that we were supposed to play for her if she ever enters a coma. And Lucky Man by The Verve is one of those. So I got that one all queued up. Sometimes I also just like to see what kind of vibe I'm feeling with the weather as I'm walking to the station. Like sometimes it's, you know, if it's cold and wintry, then I like to play more kind of moodier, I don't want to say depressing, but, you know, kind of like gloomier, like more existential type songs like Hosier or Bon Iver, like artists like that. And then as it gets warmer out, like it has been lately, I like to kind of vary it up with different indie rock and things like that, more poppier and happier and exciting things, which is really cool. All right. So yeah, Lucky Man by The Verve is starting right now. And then after that, I'm going to go on air for my first talk break, which is super exciting. So what I do for that is basically on the monitor that I showed earlier, I'm just going to click it from automatic to manual. And then that means that the computer knows that after this song, it will stop playing music and it will allow me to go on the air and talk, which is very exciting. Also see if I can rotate the camera and show off the soundboard. Let's see if I can do it here. Okay, trying to get the angle just right. All right, so yeah, that's what our soundboard looks like. Again, totally something that looks like super overwhelming and chaotic to navigate. And definitely, I think when you're first learning the technical equipment and things like that, it can be very, very challenging and scary. I know when I first went on air, I was like, oh my gosh, I should not be in charge of this. I'm going to break the radio, like totally that kind of thing. But there's very few buttons that you actually have to push on the soundboard. Like in that whole huge thing that I just showed you, the only button that I ever have to push is all the way on the left. I just have to push the on or the off button to turn on and off the microphone. So definitely easy enough, but I think it's cool, you know, when you get to listen to the radio in the car and you don't really think about these kinds of things, like how it actually works or what kind of technology goes into it to allow somebody to speak on the air and reach you like from your car. But I think it's really interesting to be behind the scenes and learn all about how that works. We have about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the song before I start going on air. Like I said, if you have any requests throughout the show, go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I will try to see if we have it in our library and queue it up for later on in the show, which is very cool and exciting. I just glanced up, and behind me, well, not behind me, behind you, behind the camera, we have our whole, I'll try to see again if I can like rotate it and show you. We have our whole poster board kind of right here of different documents that are up, and all the way on the left, there is the bracket that our sports show filled out for March Madness. It just hurts so much to look at because they have Illinois taking the whole thing. That is also what I had in my bracket. I'm still in denial that Loyola loss happened, you know? One thing I think is interesting, though, about this whole March Madness, though, is how all of the underdogs really came through for it, you know? Like, a lot of people kind of like to complain about March Madness that, oh, it's always the same big teams that are carrying through the whole thing and doing really well. But I think it was interesting this year to see schools like Oral Roberts or UCLA, which is now in the Final Four, really doing well and going far into the tournament. And honestly, I kind of dig that. And I'm really rooting for them to, well, I was really rooting for them to go far, but even UCLA, which is, you know, the really big underdog left, you know, it just kind of, I don't know. I've always been the kind of person to root for the underdog. So it does make me happy. And this is honestly the first year I've really paid attention to March Madness, which is largely because the Illini were in it and slated to be doing really well. So a little disappointed about that. But it was really fun to make the bracket and kind of get a chance to get like really invested into this. All right, let's see. We have about 45 seconds left in this song, so I'm going to go on air in a quick sec. So going to start getting ready for that and getting ready to go ahead and talk to people listening through our website or our app. Just a couple more seconds left. Going to go ahead and for this first talk break, I'm just going to introduce the show and basically talk about all of the artists that are coming up. That was The Verve with Lucky Man on WPGU 1071, Champagne's Alternative. I'm Sophia Morano, and we have a great 2 hours coming up for you today. In a little bit, we have The Killers, the Lemonheads, Florence and the Machine, and so much more. So stay tuned. Don't change the channel. And coming up next, here is Youngblood with Original Me. Once again, I'm Sophia Morano, and you are listening to WPGU 1071, Champagne's Alternative. And just like that, there it goes. Oh. I'm going to take my headphones off there. Yeah. So there it goes, just like that. And then right now we have Youngblood with Original Me. And coming up in a few, we have The Killers with Miss Atomic Bomb and Tall Dark Whimsy with Wabi Sabi. I have not heard this song or the last song. So interested to kind of hear what those are like. We also try to update the system frequently. I was making sure that my mic wasn't still on. We try to make sure frequently that the system is updated with newer artists and newer songs that people are listening to, which is cool because we like to stay, you know, with the trends and everything like that. Just to see what people are listening to, like the TikTok songs, of course, you know, that become trendy and things like that. Yeah, I really like The Killers, which is coming on next. Mr. Brightside is always a really great, you know, song to get down to when, you know, you're having fun with your friends and things like that. Of course, with the pandemic right now, it's completely different, but, you know, when it's safe to do so. I got my first dose of the COVID vaccine yesterday, so I'm very happy about that. I was able to get it as being a part of the media, and it was really great. Honestly, very few symptoms. The only thing that happened was that my arm got really sore a couple hours after I got it, but it's gotten a lot better since then. But yes, definitely get your vaccine when it's your chance to. It's absolutely worth it, and I feel so grateful and happy that I was able to go ahead and get that. Yeah, so right now it is Original Me by Youngblood that is on the air, and I'm liking this song. Like I said, I've never heard it before, but yeah, I'm liking the vibes and how that's going. We have a whole music department here that are the people who do the song research, and usually they try to, as I mentioned earlier in this live stream, try to be finding different independent artists and always on the constant hunt for newer subgenres of alternative music that we can be featuring on the air. We have so many different shows here. We have a funk show that plays on the weekends. We have a punk show that is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe. And then as well as we also offer the Daily Illini, which is a student newspaper here. Some shows too, one where they talk about Illini sports and what's going on with that. And then another one where Buzz Magazine, which is about arts and culture, gets to kind of come on and talk about different pop culture things that are happening. We also have a show. Hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Awesome. Thank you. No problem. So yeah, we also have a show here called The Sauce, which plays on the weekends with newer alternative artists and things like that. So it's definitely really cool and, interesting to see everybody's different music tastes kind of come through, and all of the DJs get to express themselves and really kind of let their expertise shine through. We also have a request show on every single weekday at 5 p.m. It's called Request Live, where you can go ahead and text in songs throughout the hour, and DJs will be there to supply those and load them up. So it is our show that listens back, which is super cool. We also have a throwback show that I really like called Flashback that's on every single weekday at noon. So yeah, definitely really interesting to kind of see those and talk about those. Right now we have the Miss Atomic Bomb by The Killers that is on. One thing that I like to do when I'm listening to music on my own time, again, because I really like movies and I especially like movie soundtracks, I have different playlists that I make where I think of a specific type of scene in a movie. So like, for example, the opening of a movie, the ending of a movie, and whatnot, and, like a love scene, a fight scene, different things like that. And then I just make a playlist for songs that I think would fit that energy and would be good to go there. The Killers is definitely a good, I always try to focus it more on coming of age because that's my favorite genre and what I like to write when I am writing. So The Killers are definitely one band that I always think where their music works really well for different movie soundtracks. And I'm getting those vibes right now as I'm listening to Miss Atomic Bomb by The Killers, which is playing on the air right now. So I like to put those in. Trying to remember the name of the specific song that I have in the opening playlist, but the opening to a coming of age movie playlist that I have, I like to listen to every single day in the morning just because it really like pumps me up and it makes me feel like I'm in a movie and I'm just like, yes, like I feel ready. I'm going to take on the day. Like, yes, I got this. Like, let's go. So I think just doing things like that, can really be fun just to kind of spice up even like the mundane things of, morning routine, making my bed, brushing your teeth, all that good stuff. We have about a minute, 20 seconds left in this song, and then coming up after that is Wabi Sabi by Tall Dark Whimsy. Yeah, I really like making different Spotify playlists. I always get kind of carried away when I make them. Like, for example, when I made my very first coming of age movie playlist, I still haven't cleaned that one out, but I think it's probably still over like 70 hours long or something like that. It's crazy. Like, I kind of just add a bunch of songs, then go through and listen to them later and see if they actually fit in with what I'm trying to do or if they don't. Let's see some of the other artists that are back here. We also have Coldplay, Imagine Dragons, Death Cab for Cutie. So that's interesting. I actually did see Imagine Dragons in concert one time when I was in middle or high school, one of those. And they were actually really good. It was when their first album came out, the one with Radioactive and Demons, and It's Time, I believe, was also on there. And I remember them being really, really good in concert. They also had the Naked and Famous as their opening act. And that was my first time ever hearing anything by that band. And they were really, really good. I really enjoyed that experience. Definitely, I think live music is something that I miss. And we actually do have a show where we feature live artists from Champaign on here. We can't do that right now because of COVID. And obviously, we don't want to have a bunch of artists, coming in and possibly infecting anybody or us infecting them. So unfortunately, that's not happening. But I'm really hoping when things start opening back up that we can bring that show back, because it's really cool to see just the different live music and bands that we have going on in Champaign, which I feel like people don't generally think of as, your typical live music venue, but it's really cool. Yeah, definitely can't wait for concerts to be back. I've always wanted to see Taylor Swift live, so I feel like that would be my first choice of artist if I had to pick somebody that I wanted to go see. I love Taylor Swift so much. Oh my gosh, she's my favorite. Not ashamed to admit it. Her new albums that came out last year, Folklore and Evermore, I literally have on repeat like 24/7, but I never get tired of it. Like, just the lyric writing, and it's so good. I'm so happy that she won Album of the Year again. And I'm excited because now she's re-recording all of her music, and Fearless is about to drop in less than a month now. So excited for that. Oh my gosh. All right, got about a minute, 30 seconds left on this song before I have to go back and do another talk break. So getting ready for that. This is also a song that I've never heard before. It's Wabi Sabi by Tall Dark Whimsy. And I like it. I like it because it kind of has this like sinister-y vibe almost in it, which is really interesting. I have one of my other movie playlists is full of villainy songs and songs that would suit like the villain of a movie, or just, kind of those more like sinister thriller type stuff. So I really like kind of listening to that sometimes and getting to kind of feel all dark and mysterious and like, it's cool. All right, got about 40 seconds left here before I'm going to go back on air. And then I am probably just going to talk about different things going on with me right now. Usually we try to switch it up so every other talk break is longer or shorter. So, a longer talk break to introduce the show, then maybe a little shorter one just to go through and introduce the songs or different things like that. All right. Getting ready to go on air because we have about 10-ish seconds left before the song ends. That was Tall Dark Whimsy on WPGU 1071, Champaign's Alternative. All right. Coming up in a little bit, we have Cats and Tongues Unknown, so definitely you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But first, here is Girl Friday with Decoration Currency. Once again, I'm Sophia Morano, and you are listening to WPGU 1071, Champaign's Alternative. And that's how it's done. All right, well, I think that's all I'm going to do for the live stream today. I just wanted to share a little bit of a taste of what working in radio is like and what things are like here over at WPGU, the kind of music that I listen to, all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm so happy to have been able to share this. I will be still here until 4 p.m. if you want to tune in on WPGU.com or through our app, or I will also be here. I don't know why I said or. I am also here on Wednesdays and Sundays, Wednesdays from 2 to 4 p.m., Sundays with my show Soundtracked, where I talk about different movie and TV show soundtracks from 5 p.m., 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. got my words mixed up there. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. But thank you so much again for tuning in. Once again, my name is Sophia Morano. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and goodbye.